Alright guys, how you doing? I'm kind of doing a double video here. I got the GoPro set up here, and what I'm going to do is go through this thing real quick and try and determine if there was something completely obvious that I missed last year when I did the rocker arms that may have caused me to have issues late in the season where I got all this noise coming from when I actually parked this thing back in October. And here's proof that the dryer sheet concept does not work. There's mouse evidence sitting here on the valve cover. Luckily I leave a trap right here, and there's a couple guys in there right now, so hopefully they're having a bad time. I'm going to wipe this off. So the plan for today is to check it over, fire it up. I'm not going to drive it anywhere because there's still a lot of salt on the road. We just had snow the other day, and the municipals decided to take it upon themselves to salt again, which is just lovely. See, look, more mouse evidence just sitting here. Freaking BS, man. I tell you, these animals, they suck. So if you see a mouse and it's trapped, kill it. Mice, birds, I don't get along with them things being a car guy. Alright, so last year, as I was saying, last year I drove this thing to work, or I tried to. I got about maybe 7 miles away from my house, 10 miles away from my house, stopped to get gas, shut it off, turned it back on, and it was rattling like crazy. I mean, just tap, 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 tap. And it sounded like it was running on 3 cylinders. So I was kind of, panicking. And then I decided to, drive it back home and park it. And while I was driving it, I noticed that when I was about 65 miles an hour, I was doing about little under about 3,000 RPMs, and I was hitting 20 PSI on the oil pressure. Now that could be a bad sending unit, but who knows? It was making noise, running on 3 cylinders. It just sounded like complete and total ass. So I'm like, well, what the hell did I do? So I drove it home. I drove it back home instead of driving it to work. And from there I parked it, and it's been sitting here in the garage like this since last October. So I haven't touched it. I haven't looked at a thing. So I'm going to start by checking the oil. I'm going to pull the fuel pump relay. I'm going to crank her up until I get some pressure, and then we're going to start her and see exactly if it's making noise or not. And if it is making noise, I'm going to try and see if maybe I've got to pull the valve cover and see if maybe it's something I screwed up when I did the rocker arms on it. I'm starting to doubt that, I doubt my work a little bit here and there. And I'm thinking maybe I got the rocker arms out of order, because there are, the intakes have fronts and rears. They are different angles. Maybe I didn't think that through because my memory just does not work like that. So I'm kind of in panic mode right now. I would like to be able to drive this thing soon, even though I still got a couple good weeks before I can take it out on the road. There's still a lot of salt out there. So yeah, how you guys doing? See, I got a few viewers here, a couple viewers, 1 viewer, 0 viewers, who knows. Alright, I'm going to start by checking the oil on this thing, and I'm going to try and find a spot where this camera can sit and catch the festivities without being too intrusive, without falling over, because there's a breeze in here. So, check and make sure we got oil on the stick. We got oil on the stick. I don't see any metal in there, so that's good. Check and make sure the level's okay. We're a little high, actually. A little high, so that could be a problem. The crankshaft could be whipping it up into a frenzy and then pushing air bubbles through the rocker arms. That's a possibility there. So let's pull the fuel pump relay. Pull the fuel pump relay so she doesn't get fuel pressure just yet. I got a fuel pressure gauge in line right here. so we'll know we got the right fuel pressure. But your fuel pump relay is right here, listed on the cover. It's this blue guy right here. So I'm just going to pull this real quick if I can. Sorry about the all over the place angle here. So there's the fuel pump relay that's been pulled. Put that in my pocket. And let's hook up the battery cables here. Sorry about the jostling around and everything, but that would, you know, without jostling around, that would imply that I'm organized, and I'm far from it. So let's tighten this down snug. You don't have to crank the shit out of these things. You just got to crank it till it's snug and doesn't rotate. So now we've got power with no fuel pressure. Let's take this rag out. Once again, mice, hate them, see them, kill them. Alright, so I got my keys this year, unlike last year where I couldn't find them. I made sure that I left them in the safe, and that way I could just grab them when the time came. Oh, it's been a while since I've sat in this thing. I lost like close to 40 pounds over the last year. So like the steering wheel used to be like really close to me. Now this cab feels kind of big. So we're pretty good. So we got 12.5 volts. Very bad connection. Sorry guys, I'll try and film this from outside the truck. Alright, so this is just going to crank with nothing going on. Just making sure my clutch is good. That's okay. So let's just crank her. She's not going to fire. She's just going to pop. Oh, sounds like my camera just fell. She's really bouncing around in there. She's cranking. One more time and then we'll hook the fuel pressure gauge up, or fuel pressure relay back up. Okay, should be pretty good. I heard my GoPro camera hit the ground here. Yep, it did. These things take a beating, man, I tell you. They're pretty good. So we'll suction cup it to the windshield instead. We'll just make some minor adjustments here. Not like I'm really going to catch anything terribly exciting with this thing, because, I mean, you guys are already seeing this live, but, alright, so if the camera's going to hear what I'm doing and not actually see it. Alright, so, let's do the fuel pump relay. So, pop this cover back off, put this back on. So, now when I cycle the key, we're going to hear the fuel pump fire up for a second, and I should have pressure. There's that. And we got 43, 44 pounds of pressure going on in there right now. Let me put this cover back on. Waking the beast. I'm expecting a little bit of rocker arm noise or a lot. One or the other. We're going to have a normal amount for a KA, or we're going to have a shitload from what the damage was from last year. So there we go, cranking. We're going to have her go. Wow. Fired right up. And We got a little bit of tapping coming from there. It's going away now. Yeah, you can hear something going on in there. I can hear the noise right about right there, about 2200 RPM. Not beating on it too bad, but I got a little whistle coming from under there too. That could just be a belt or something. Sounds healthy back there though. I got a little noise coming from under here. Off idle. Temperature's just starting to come up a little bit. A little tick. A little tick going on in here. I don't know if you guys can hear that because I'm sure this the mic on the camera is not the greatest. But I'm always hearing it, like it sounds like it's coming from under the valve cover, but sometimes you would think that it was like one of the injectors from what I'm hearing. It's got that sound to it. You know, she's running real smooth right now. I'm gonna let her get up to full temp, and then you guys can hear the hear what I've been hearing. Anyways, while this is doing that, I don't know how many people have been following this channel, but I figured I would just do a little walkthrough on this thing. This is a 1995 Nissan D21 Hardbody that I bought back in 2008. I saved my money when I quit smoking cigarettes, and this truck was my gift to myself for being a good boy. I bought it from a guy probably about 30 miles away from here. He brought it up from Florida, and this thing has been down to Florida and up to New York multiple times, and yeah, most of the paint is original on the thing. In 2011 I hit a deer with it and completely wadded this whole corner here. The core support's been replaced, the bumper's been replaced, fender, the door was repaired, the hood is new. The cowl is original, All that work was done by Ryder Restorations in East Rochester. He's a big Datsun guy. He's got that land speed record 620 that I showed in another video. And then from there, I just got into autocrossing because of him. And so the suspension's been upgraded with sway-away torsion bars. It's got energy suspension bushings, the poly bushings. It's got KYB Monomax shocks. It's got stainless braided brake lines. This has been swapped to the V6 brakes. Vacuum line routing. I will do what I can, but what I probably end up doing is just putting a link to the service manual, or I'll put a picture up or something. There's a lot of lines underneath this thing. I would end up spending like 4 or 5 hours just trying to trace all the lines for it. Most of the stuff is intact on this truck though. I have not really disabled any of that stuff yet. So it's kind of really stock that way. In the rear, it's got a Hellwig rear sway bar. It has poly bushings in the rear, and I've removed the overload leaf to get it to be a little compliant. Tire wise, this thing is running Sumitomo 205 6015s. These tires are actually a few years old now, and I'm actually looking into replacing them. I'm going to probably go with another set of Sumitomos because I do like how these tires ride. They are smooth, they're quiet, and even though I put these tires back on in 2011, they still got some decent tread to them, but they are getting a little thin on the edges. So I figured I'd go with another set because I had good luck with them. The wheels are off of a 2002 to 2004 Frontier two-wheel drive. They're 15x7s. They're factory. I like the way they look. What else do we got going on here? I did a video about the poor man's cold air intake. This is it right here. All my trucks have these. Whenever I spot them in the junkyard, I grab them and hold on to them there. Interior wise, we went with Pathfinder bucket seats, Frontier center console, VDO gauges. We got LED lighting all throughout here, so everything's LED. Got to have a little rice, got to give it a little attitude and everything. Junkyard fender flares that I reconditioned, so they've been painted. I got all the full set there. Last year I swapped this to the Pathfinder front end. So we got that with just a stock bulb, and then I added the 24-inch LED light bar just so I was able to drive it at night again. Yeah, you guys saw I got the fuel pressure gauge here. That's just an add-on, and then just a X-Tang Tuftano 2 in the back. Nothing terribly fancy. I mean, this one is probably less modified than that red truck that I've been working on for the last 6 months. The red truck is a real mongrel. This thing's pretty close to stock other than some body work and a little bit of suspension work. The exhaust is a 2-inch. I'm still running the stock manifold. Sorry, got a very bad connection here. The exhaust is running the stock manifold. It still has EGR that functions, but it goes down 2 inches, and then it's a bullet muffler, and it's a bullet muffler all the way to the back. So, and I had a shop bend me up a mandrel exhaust all the way to the rear, right here. So that's all one-piece exhaust, mandrel bent 2 inches all the way to the back. The factory exhaust on this truck went from 2-inch to the catalytic converter, and then coming out of the catalytic converter it went down to 1 3/4 inches. That's just stupid. I mean, for fuel economy I suppose, but this truck was not built for fuel economy. So I cut the cat off, all the mufflers off, and had him run a bullet muffler all the way out to the back. And it sounds pretty good. It's loud. I like loud though. The only other thing I can think of is that I added an auxiliary cooling fan. I was having a little bit of heat trouble when I was sitting on grid for some of the autocrosses that I really haven't been going to in the last year or so. So I threw the auxiliary fan on. That's on a switch. So if I'm sitting there idling, I can throw that on. Yeah, that's the grand tour of the whole thing. Yeah, so if you guys got any questions, just throw a comment up there. Otherwise, we're sitting here idling at, let's see what our temperature's at now. That's about normal temperature for this thing. About 15 pounds. So that's not bad, and we're pretty quiet right now. This is not making a whole lot of noise underneath here. I'm surprised. I'm kind of shocked. This thing is really being silly and perplexing the hell out of me, because some days it wants to make a lot of noise and some days it doesn't. So your guess is as good as mine, guys. Not making a peep. It's quiet. But last October when I was driving this thing, it just acted like it lost the cylinder. I couldn't tell you. Rocker arms are as quiet as can be right now. Idling nicely. Temperature gauge is not too high. Oil pressure gauge is reading about 15. I got 60 pounds of pressure at 3,000 RPM. Take her up to 4 grand. 70 pounds at 4 grand. Ridiculous. I tell you, it's ridiculous. Doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. This thing sounded like it was ready to explode last year. And here it is sounding like it's brand new right off the showroom floor. You got me, man. Got me. We're at about 35 pounds of fuel pressure. She's not leaning. I mean, numbers wise, this thing is doing great. Idling good. Got a little tiny tick, but that's not like what it was before. It was crazy loud before. I don't know, I'd love to test drive it right now, but there's too much salt still on the road, and I'm not doing that to this poor thing. I don't hear any unusual noises coming out of this thing at all. I always suggest to some people you check your injectors, because a lot of times you'll hear the clicking of the injector opening and closing. And that could be what I'm having a problem with, is I could have a dying injector. But you would think that it would be doing it right now. So we're going to check it with a poor man's stethoscope here. Let's flip this off. Just going to listen to the injector and hear it click. Yeah, it's doing its click thing. I don't know if you guys can hear that, but I'm holding the phone up against the screwdriver right now. So that's injector 1. Here's injector 2. Opening and closing. Injector 3. There's injector 4. Injector 1 sounds the loudest to me. Yeah, injector 1 sounds the loudest to me. You can hear that. I don't know if you guys can hear that. Can you guys hear that? That ticking? I'm set up right here. I got the screwdriver on it, and you can hear it. It's pretty loud compared to the others. Now, I wonder if injector 1 is taking a shit on me. I bet you that's what it is. It's loud. Wow. Okay, well, I guess I'll have to be on the hunt for some injectors. I don't like these side feed injectors anyways. I really don't like them. I like the idea of the top feeds like the older ones had. Because I got this 93 engine over here, and that had a set of top feeds on it. On this intake manifold right here, which is sitting back here. I just been too lazy to transfer all that stuff over. Sorry, very bad connection. I'm all the way away from the house, so my internet is kind of really weak out this way. So I gotta apologize for these things. Listen to it. It is not making a peep. It is quiet. I don't understand this. That is the exact opposite of what I heard last year. I guess that would explain the dead cylinder. If that injector number 1 is taking a dump on me, maybe it was passing a piece of garbage. I mean, I just did get done fueling it up, and maybe something got past the filter, or maybe the filter's gone south on me. I mean, it is an older filter. It's an old Baldwin filter. I don't know, something to look into, I guess. Well, we're just idling away here. Full temp. About, now that the oil's heated up a little bit, it's sitting at about 10 psi at idle. And I'm not running any shims, I'm not running any springs. That is a factory oil pump. A little over 20 inches of mercury on the vacuum. I don't know, guys. I'm going to do some more research on this thing, and I hate to wish for rain, but that's what I got to do. I got to wait for rain so we can get some of this salt off the road, because I'm not taking this bad boy on the road with salt out there. All right. Well, we'll let that idle for a little bit longer. Let her cycle some fluids. We'll just go out back. I'll show you some of the other stuff that's been going on around here. Hopefully we got a decent enough connection. This guy right here, I've been just doing some cosmetic stuff on. It's not the prettiest, but I think it'll look a lot better once I get that hood on it that I have. I just have to bring it back over from the other shop. Rice. And here's my VG33. This I don't know how much of that I'm going to use. I think I might just steal the heads off of it and put it on my 300ZX block. Don't know yet. This thing looks like it's been, the hell got beat out of it. I think they just, because it's got no coolant in it at all. I just cut the heater core lines and not a drop. Absolutely dry. So that tells me there's no coolant in this thing, and they were running it. So it drained coolant and just got, you know, overheated, so something like that. So I'm afraid that I'm going to find some bad stuff in here. So I'm all prepared for that. Started ripping the interior apart. So that's done. I got the computer out. I got the harness for that out. I'm not going to use the whole harness, so I just hacked a lot of shit out of this thing. I'm just going to cut the body up so I can try and lift this block out. If not, then I'll just take the heads off right while it's sitting in the truck here, because that's really all I want. I don't, you know, the 3.3 is nice, but I mean, that 3.0 that I bought last year, that's in really good shape. That's a beautiful engine. It's only got 50,000 miles on it. It had a complete and total rebuild like a couple years before that, and then the car just sat. So they scrapped the car, kept the motor, and it's clean. I mean, it's the paint on the block is still good and everything. This thing, blown head gasket. So look at that, nice new door handles, nice new, so I can actually open it. I apologize about the very bad connection. I apologize about the bad connection. This is not terrible, but it's not great. I mean, it's dirty. It's got coolant sprayed all over the inside of it, so as well, I don't know. Too many projects. This guy's awesome. He's running good. I had him out last weekend. I can actually drive this one in the salt. I'm not too worried about it because he's already rotted. But runs good. And then of course, this is the plow truck known as Turd 3. I know in the videos I said it was a C1500. This is actually a K1500. You guys probably already knew that though. Not that I didn't know that, it's just that I got it wrong. It's a 4.3 liter, 5-speed, and it's a turd. Alright, let's go and check on this baby. Still no noise. Idling smooth. No noise. I am so confused right now. I guess the only thing I can really do is drive it. I'll tell you, this suction cup for this GoPro camera is pretty done. I'm gonna have to buy a new one. This won't stick anymore. I'm afraid that if I put it on a vehicle and go and do some drives around town, I'm gonna lose the camera. Ah, shit. Alright. Well, sorry, I was hoping to blow up a motor today, but it doesn't look like I'm going to. Temperature gauge has not moved. Oil pressure gauge is still sitting good. Those gauges are looking alright. I mean, I don't know. It is quiet. Well, you got me, ma'am. Well, if it's going to run like this, May 12th, there's an autocross. I'm going to run it. But I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to rent a dolly, and I'll tow this to the event, run it, and then if it blows up, then I don't have to worry about hiring a tow truck. I can just throw it back on the dolly and drag it back down here. Might as well. Shit. Might as well get one last hurrah out of this KA if it's starting to go. But based on this, it doesn't sound like it's getting ready to go at all. Okay. Well, I'm going to tune out here. I'm going to vacuum up some of this mouse evidence, clean this up a little bit, and shut it off. And it sounds great. I'm surprised. I don't know what's going on with it. Maybe it was just a little piece of something that decided to go through it that it didn't like, and it gave it a little indigestion or something. But she seems good. So, all right. As always, I want to thank everybody for tuning in. I want to thank everybody for subscribing. The subs are awesome. The views are awesome. YouTube is still out on the fence on whether this is a partner channel or not. They say that they're going to have it ready by, or the decision made by the end of April. Who knows? I really at this point don't care anymore, because it seems like even if you're a huge channel, you're going to get demonetized anyways. So I really don't care at this point. I'm just going to continue to bring you guys this stuff. If you guys have any questions, just leave a comment down below. And take it easy. Enjoy your weekend. It's a beautiful weekend out there. That's what I'm going to do. Alright, thanks guys. Tuning in out.